Hey guys, thanks for stopping in again this week. So glad to see y'all back.
So why don't you tell the folks what you're going to be doing this week?
This week we're going to have a DIY video on repairing our gray tank. I'm going to demonstrate to our viewers how to plastic weld.
Well, that sounds fun.
The process really isn't that bad. It's actually pretty easy if you take your time. Probably the hardest part is accessing the tank to weld it. I don't plan to drop the tank, so I'm just going to drop the belly pan and crawl up underneath there and weld it in place.
That'll be fun.
It ought to be.
All right, well, let's get started with the fun. Wait, actually, before we get started, I want to thank our viewers. We're currently sitting at 97 subscribers. I suspect by the time this video gets released, we'll have hit 100 subscribers, which is our first milestone.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for subscribing and watching.
Thanks, everyone. It really means a lot to have you guys all following us. It sure makes all the hours we put into creating this content feel a lot more worthwhile. So thanks again.
Yeah, and all those hours are mostly him on the video stuff and all the music. He is really, really good at this. His artistic flair really comes out here. I hope you guys can see that. He does spend a lot of time on it. But in any case, if you are new to this channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and ring that bell so you won't miss a single episode.
All right, let's get to it. Well, today we seem to have a problem. We're getting a smell in the camper, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I went up underneath and I checked the belly pan just by putting my shoulder and kind of raising up on it, and I had some water leak. So we're going to go up underneath here and drop the belly pan. To get started, we need to remove this jack. Next, we need to remove the stabilizer bar. With that out of the way, now we can drop the propane line so we can access the rest of the bolts to actually lower the belly pan. Now we can actually drop the belly pan and see what's waiting for us up in here. Okay, as I suspected, the gray tank has a leak. There's a crack in the holding tank right before the outlet tube. Looks like I'm going to have to plastic weld this thing. I'll get a piece of scrap, show you exactly what I do to fix it. So I'll start by cutting a slice to represent the crack. So you can see we have a nice crack there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some protective gloves on, and then I'll get some solvent and I'll clean it. And I happen to have some lacquer thinner on hand. It's just the solvent I have. You can use a denatured alcohol or anything like that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of screen, and I'm going to cut this piece of screen to match the crack. I like this screen to hang over about 1/4 to 1/2 inch on all sides of the crack. But before I use that, I'll actually use just my regular soldering gun. I'm going to melt this crack. I'm going to melt a V down into it. I'll pull from both sides and get it to melt together as I'm doing it, but I'll create a low spot in it. You're just melting it each side into the other side, and then just kind of mixing the plastic together so it combines over the crack. And I'll just work it out just a little bit, get it nice and smooth. All right, next we're going to smooth out the top so the wire mesh will lay flat. When I do this, I'm going to actually pull it back into the groove here. All right, that's pretty flat. So now I'm going to put this piece of screen on here. And what we're doing is we're just going to kind of melt it down into the plastic and let it kind of stretch over it. And it will embed itself in there. And that's what will give you the strength to keep the crack from reopening. Alright, so now here's just a piece of this plastic that I cut off to use. I'm just going to melt this back on top of it and bury everything really good. You just want to make sure that it adheres to what's below it. Not just putting it on top, it's got to melt into it. See that? We've already closed up the crack. Now we're just trying to make sure it stays closed. We're just providing extra support. We're actually welding it back now. I think that's enough demonstration. Let's get to the actual repair. First I'll drain all the water and then I'll clean the area real good with some salt. Then I'll apply the same procedures just demonstrated. Melting this metal wire into the plastic.
So now you're just melting a new piece of plastic over the mesh?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so it's been about 3 weeks since the gray tank repair. You want to tell them all about it?
Well, it's still been holding. I haven't got a drip of water in the underbelly since I repaired the tank.
And the smell is gone. That's really the best thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah. But you know, our camper is still fairly new. So I've been talking to the factory rep and they want us to take the camper into a dealership and have the tank replaced. That's great, but we're here in Myrtle Beach and we've had issues with the dealer before and I do not want them touching our camper. We don't know how long it would take them to do it and get it back or anything like that. And we just finished watching a video, in fact, with Happily Ever Hanks, and they ran into the same issues with the same dealership, so I'm not willing to try that.
With regard to the delays. And keep in mind, we live in this camper, so if they take it into the shop and it doesn't take a day, you know, we're kind of screwed. All of our stuff is here. We have to find a hotel. We have to pay for said hotel, and we have not had the best experience with delays on these kinds of things. So, yeah, a little sketchy.
So even though it might not be a brand new tank, it's a quality repair. I used to repair cars and I would repair the bumpers the same exact way. I never had to come back. So I feel pretty confident in the repair.
All right, so it gets a thumbs up for me because, again, I was more worried about the smell than anything else. Note to everybody, when you're kitchen gray tank is leaking, it actually smells as bad as if your black tank was leaking.
So anyway, thanks again for checking in. We really appreciate all of you that subscribe. In fact, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, ring that bell so you don't miss a single episode. And leave us some comments in the comment section. Let us know if we're doing a good job, or if you want to see us doing anything different or covering anything different, please. We'd love your feedback. So till then, we'll see you next episode.
And there's always outtakes.
Sorry, that was a bug. And if you watched our first video, we found that farty smell.